so coffee tastes mighty good. That's not the reason why I've gotta get back up to that sugar shack.
Hey everybody, Jim Tedesco here from Millennium County RR version 2.0. And this is a quick update of what I've been doing here. Very little, but I'm still doing something. Anyway, I thought I'd show you what I've actually got going on. So stand by, we'll reposition the camera. We'll jump right into it. Well, first things first. I've been working on a replica of my real house for the layout, and that's this right here. I've got the garage door cut out and put in. I've got to put in a door next, and I've got some windows I got in the front. I removed this section of wall because it's technically incorrect. And I'm debating whether or not I want to remove this wall or not. And I'm thinking about printing up some new walls so I can section this off the way it's supposed to be according to real life, even though you're not going to be able to see much of it, so I don't know if it's really worth the effort or not. I'll probably put a couple of chairs in there, you know, like a couch and whatever for the living room, because that's about the only thing you're actually going to see. It's going to be lit up, and I've got this roof for it. I printed another roof because the other one was slightly wrong. I'll tell you, this is one chunk of plastic here. And actually this goes right over here like that, and it's got a pretty large overhang to the actual house. You can't really see it in the picture here, but you can see right up here. This is a picture photograph of the house I took. Up here, like I said, you really can't see it, but it actually comes out almost 5 foot from the wall of the house. It's a large overhang. I don't know why they made it that way, but they did. So I'm duplicating that, and I'm waiting for my bricks to come in. Thanks to Dwight Curley. He showed me, you probably saw his video, that he bought these little tiny HO scale bricks. Well, I found them on Etsy, and I went ahead and ordered them. I don't know when they'll be here. I think close to the end of the month. Believe it or not, they're coming from Hungary, of all places. So I bought 300 of them. That should be more than enough, I hope, just because I've just got to do basically from the garage edge over here to just where this tree ends. Where this tree is where the brick ends, and it goes back to wood from there. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Go back down here. I finally bought a new tripod. I can't show it to you because the camera's on it, but I bought a nicer one this time. Paid a few dollars more for it, and it's worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I've got to paint this roof yet too. But I've got more windows and doors to put in. I've got to drill out, and I've got my and I got to thank Wilmer for this one, because he's the one who showed me this nipper. I guess you'd call it a nipper or something. Anyway, it's pretty good. It's a nibbler, that's what it is. Right over here, you put it in the plastic and it nibbles out, and you get perfect lines. So it's perfect for windows and doors and such. Yeah. Thanks again, Wilmer, for showing us that. That was yeah, you know Wilmer. Ah, damn, my mind is going. Anyway, so we got that. So that's what I've been working on lately. Now, as many of you know, I have a BLI steam locomotive. It's a 484 New York City, or New York Central. And one of the problems I have with it, it's not really a problem, but my track is just, I don't know what it is, but there's some bad spots on my track, and I can't seem to get them worked out as far as dead spots electrical wise. So I decided the smart thing to do is to put a keep alive circuit in it. Well, the Paragon 3 locomotive, which is not the newest one. They got Paragon 4 now, but the Paragon 3. Even though I bought this thing brand new, but I bought it like actually a year and a half ago, and it sat in the box untouched for almost a year. So what I did was I took it apart, and in the tender, of course, is where the decoder is. I've got the decoder out. I shipped it back to BLI. And BLI has their main factory, I guess you'd call it, is right here in Ormond Beach, Florida. So they're practically across the street from me. Well, not quite, but in the same state. So I went ahead and emailed them and said, you know, what can I do to put a Keep Alive circuit in this? Now, prior to the Paragon 4, BLI was not real keen on Keep Alive circuits. For some reason, they thought that their equipment is better than that. It was degrading. I don't know what their real excuse was. It was ridiculous. But anyway, now they actually make one. So for $50, I send them my board, and they're going to exchange it for what they call an HO400-A board, which already has a built-in Keep Alive circuit in it. Plus, you can add an extra Keep Alive if you need more power for a longer amount of time. I believe the Keep Alive they got in there now runs for about 3 seconds, but you can add another. It's a plug-and-play Keep Alive circuit that you can plug into it to give yourself like another 30 seconds, which is pretty cool. So I just need a few seconds though, basically, because like I said, I got dead spots all around the tracks here and there. And as I stated previously, my scale trains, ES44s, they have Keep Alive circuits in them. They run flawlessly on the track, but the other locos really don't. And I really want to run this steamer for the passenger line. So in order to do that, I had to get a Keep Alive circuit for it. So now I'm waiting for them to send a new board back to me, hopefully by the end of next week. So we'll get that put back in here and get put back together, and we'll be good to go. So if anybody has BLI equipment, there is now a solution to the Keep Alive. Now, granted, I could have soldered in a Keep Alive circuit if I wanted to, but it was kind of risky. You risk blowing out the board, and there were other problems involved with it, such as programming. So I said, you know, it's just not worth the aggravation. $50 isn't bad. You know, so I went ahead and opted for that route. So if anybody's thinking about it, contact BLI. Like I said, they're right here in Ormond, Florida. You can get on their website and find out more information. And you can upgrade to get the Keep Alive circuit in there, because I'll tell you what, especially on a steam engine with sound, you really don't want any interruptions, because if the sound drops off even for a split second, it just throws the whole loco off. I mean, it's a disaster, and that's what I was running into. So that's clarified now, and for I know the rest of you guys that probably hate this are afraid of it. I don't blame you either way. Arduino, or as Tom likes to call it, or one of his buddies like to call it, Arduino or Arduino. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. I've been working on the turnout control, and I already have one working, but it's slightly different. So I modified it. I wanted a more well. I put in the boxes, the control boxes around the lamp. There's 4 of them all together, and 3 of them are not functioning yet. Like the next box down from the first one has 4 turnouts on it. So I was going to go ahead and use that 9685 board, which I got here somewhere. Hold on just a second. Alright, so I was going to use this 9685 board, and you've probably heard Tom Kavicek, Tom's Trains and Things, talk about these. And this is a great idea. I have two of them. However, I don't actually think I need it, because the code that I have, if I can explain this, it's going to be a little tricky, especially if you're not familiar with it. Right now I'm driving two servos, but I plan on driving 4. And I'm going to be using these pots. And move this over here. See if I can do this. Watch the lights. I got it set up so that they change while the servo switches. And in between the full throw, both are barely lit. It's kind of cool, really. I don't know if that, I didn't intentionally do that, it just kind of worked out. But then when you get to the full part, it glows bright green or bright red. So I've got it set up to where I can run the LEDs to tell you the position of the turnout, whether it's thrown or not. And like I said, I'm going to use these pots. I just ordered 10 more of them. And I'm going to mount them in the control panels, and it's going to work out fine. I mean, I was thinking about, you know, the first one I've got a switch, a toggle switch, and that's fine. But this is going to look nicer, and I think it's more functional for what I want. So the way I'm doing this is, and let me swing around over here a little bit. Now I've got this breadboard here. I'm actually running 2 breadboards, but I may just condense it down to 1. I'm not sure yet. I may solder a lot of this stuff too and eliminate all this. There's a lot of wiring here. But I got the power board that comes with the Arduino kit. And it converts 12 volts down to either 3.3 or 5 volts. So I've got 0 volts on this side, which is what the pots are controlling. Going back to the Arduino board, the Uno. And then this side here I've got 5 volts that control the servos. So I'm not stressing the Uno at all with the voltage, because I'm running separate voltage for the actual servos instead of using the Uno board to provide voltage, because if you do, it'll burn the Uno up, which is not good. So I was looking at so many different ways. I also got these here. This is a relay board. It's 4 relays. I wound up with 2 of these. And these things are really inexpensive. They're a few dollars each. But for what I'm doing, I don't actually think I can use it. So this system that I've got right here seems to be the best that's going to work for me. And I can dig up the code, which I've got here somewhere. Maybe. Okay, this one here, this is the code for it. And really, I don't know how well the camera is going to pick this up. It's a very simple code, there's not much to it. And if you're interested in it, I could actually email the code to you. But this is designed for 6 servos. Now you don't have to modify this as far as how many servos you're using, because it'll just ignore the ones that aren't hooked up, so it's not a big deal, because like I said, I'm using the same code with 2 servos, and I'll ultimately be using it with 4. The only thing you have to make sure you get right, of course, is your pot pins on the Uno board and your servo pins. And of course I changed down here these values here is the span that they'll go. So I don't have them swinging all the way around from 180 to 180 or 0 to 180. I kicked it down, and you have to really adjust this for each servo depending upon how you set up the amount of throw you want. And it's very easy. You just basically you start off with 0 to 1023, and you make your adjustments until you get it right. You play with it. There's probably no right or wrong way. You just have to mess with it until you get it right. And like I said, I did get it figured out, and I got my throw pretty much where I want it. So that was really the only thing I had to change. And then there's a delay down here. And I got it down to 5 milliseconds. And what happens is, let me point down here at the, zoom in on this a little bit. So basically what's happening here is, wrong one. That's all the throw you've got, right there to there. And it's like I said, when the light kicks on, is a full throw. Right now the red LED is on. Both are slightly on. And now the green LED is on. So that's all the throw I needed. And that works out fine for me. So, but like I said, you have to customize that for your own. But if anybody's interested in this, I'd be more than happy to send you pictures and diagrams of how to set this up. It's not as hard as it looks. It's actually fairly simple. And of course you could use the same idea. I guess you can use the tortoise turnout switches with the same deal, although it's unnecessary. But this is the cheapest way to go. I mean, I'd say altogether the Arduino board, the pots. Well, I bought an Arduino kit. It was $23. It came with a lot of stuff. It came with two pots. Actually, yeah, it came with 2 pots, the Uno board, a power supply, a breadboard, and I believe it came with one of the servos. So I bought extra servos. You know, you can get them online real cheap. And extra pots, they're cheap as well. So and the LEDs are also cheap. So you can get all this stuff for just a few dollars. And like I said, if you're in relatively close proximity, all your switches to the Uno, you can run apparently up to 6 servos on one Uno board if you use this coding software. So it's something to think about. It'll save you money. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. If you're handy with a little bit of wiring and some solder, you'll be fine. Or you could just use the breadboards. They'll work. They're just, you know, you got to be careful with them because you bump a wire, you can knock it out, and if you don't remember where it goes, then you're going to be in trouble. So, but anyway, it's a neat idea, and it saves money, and it's very functional. And it's not, I wouldn't call a slow motion. I mean, you could put slow motion into it, although I find it totally unnecessary because the way it works almost like if you, I watch the guys over here on the sugar line, short line, behind my house down the road a ways. There's switches because they've got like a staging yard there. And I'm watching them throw switches one day. Of course, they do it manually. And the switches operate much like my setup does right here. You know. So I figured, it's good enough for me. It looks almost prototypical, so why not, right? So anyway, that's where we're at with that. That takes care of Arduino. Then we're coming back over here. And I pointed this out in my last live stream, but I got such a cluttered desk here. It's wonder I can find anything. Stuff out of the way here. I made these, and I like them. Like I said, I made steps for them. 2 steps each. You can put the steps on the side. Let me get right over here. Here we go. You can put the steps on the side right here, or you can put them in the front, wherever you want them. They're not glued in yet. They won't be glued in until I actually get it on a layout. I printed some seats And I think I'm probably going, well, I didn't glue them in yet, but I think I'm going to have them spaced a little bit. So they're not glued in or painted. I got to do both. I got to paint the roof and post. There's still a little bit of work to do here, but this is pretty cool for a little loading and unloading platform for your passenger line. Yeah, we'll put some figures in here and we'll be good to go. If anybody wants any of these, let me know. I'll be more than happy to print them up for you. Now the way I set this one up, oops, I factored in the height of the track based on if it's on a I can't think of anything lately. You know, you put it on top of the cork and ballasted, so it's going to be a little bit higher than the rest of the road or the rest of the land. So this is factored in for that, which will put this level with where you would actually board on a passenger car. Now, if you don't have an elevated track, I also have another one of these that are much flatter. So if you're interested in them, you have to let me know whether you have elevated track or not. So, but anyway, they come out pretty cool. I like them. This is pretty much my own design to some degree. You know, I did modify a few things to make it work. And this roof is the same roof that I used for my replica house on the layout, just a smaller version of it. But it's a metal roof, just like the one on my house, and it's perfect. So it's amazing what you can make when you really put your mind to it. So anyway, that's all we got going on today. I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't want to drag this out too long. So let me reposition the camera again. So that's what I've been doing here the last couple of weeks. Well, I said I'm still waiting on things from the mail. Everything is slow. And that's it. So, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And we'll talk to you next time. We'll see you for now. Bye.